Hey guys, so you know I don't like filming at my father's, which is where I am, but there is a very good reason that we're filming here today, and that's because all of these, let's see if I can pick them up. All of these are here. These are all of my old journals. I have been journaling regularly since my junior year of high school, and now I'm in my junior year of college, so almost 4 years now. No, 4+ years now. I'm not good with math, obviously. And I just wanted to share a little bit about the journaling supplies I use and some ideas and tips and tricks for things to put in your journal when you want to be creative and want to work on it but don't really know what to do. If you've been on my channel at all, then you know that this is my current journal and I put everything in it. Like if I lost this, I would just be lost in life. I don't know. It has all of my to-dos in it. It has all of my notes on Valor. It has everything in it. So all of these journals were kind of like that at one point or another. We're gonna start this video off with what kind of journal I use. Now, if you could see when I held them up, I have used all different kinds of journals. The journal that I'm currently using is leather bound and gorgeous. It's very big. It's probably the biggest journal that I've used. So generally I go through them a lot faster than I've gone through this one, but I kind of like it. I like how sturdy this is. It's not flimsy, the cover's not gonna rip. It has a ribbon to keep my pages, which is really nice because I don't like to flip through them all to find where I'm at. That kind of gets irritating after a while. I have used spiral bound notebooks before. I've also used notebooks that were a little bit bigger and spiral bound before. And these are really convenient if you're in school, you're in high school, and you're keeping it in your backpack a lot. It's kind of the same size as a regular notebook, so you can just fit it in with all of your school stuff and you don't really need to worry about it being smaller or getting squished or anything like that, because I was always kind of worried about that with some of my smaller notebooks. The downfall to notebooks like this, if you can see here in the corner, it's ripping, it's tearing apart from the spiral, which this is an old notebook, but still you want them to be a little bit sturdier than this, especially if you're going to be carrying it around with you all the time like I do and writing in it all the time. So I generally prefer notebooks that are not spiral bound, especially if you are a little bit slower at filling up notebooks like I am. If you fill one up every month, then use whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Most of my notebooks were not expensive notebooks. The only expensive one that I have is the one that I currently use, and I spent around $35–40 on this baby. Like I said though, it has many more pages than the other ones that I've used, and I use it every day. So you think about the other things that you use every day and the amount of money you spend on them. I'll probably end up using this notebook for more than a year, which is sometimes longer than somebody uses their phone. So it was definitely worth the money, in my opinion, for somebody that is going to journal all the time the way I do. Another really nice feature on a journal that I think helps with the whole keeping it together, keeping the pages nice when you're using it for a long time, is finding a journal that has this little elastic right here. Now, this was my very first journal in junior year, so it's super old. I mean, the first date in here is 2014, April 2014, so a long time ago. So this is a little worn out, but normally when you first get them, it's nice and tight, and so it will keep it so that your pages are not going to fall out, which is super nice. Again, when you're in school, you're carrying it around, you're shoving it in a backpack. This way, notebooks aren't going to go into the pages if you just shove them in there and you're not looking. It just keeps everything nicer for longer. And again, this is not spiral bound because that is what I've found I prefer. Now we're going to go into supplies that I use when writing in my journals. I have used everything. I am a little bit of a pen junkie. I love to go get new pens. Everything that comes out I want to try, I want to test out for myself. But I would say I stay with 2 specific types of pens. And I have for the last year and a half, maybe 2 years. For black pens, I like the Papermate Ink Joy pens in 0.5. And these are my holy grail. They do not leak through the pages. They don't even really ghost. They write so smoothly. I'm left-handed and I don't smudge these pens, which is great because nobody wants a big black ink smudge on the side of their hand. So these are my absolute favorite when it comes to writing in black pen. And I almost always prefer gel pens to regular pens because, I don't know, I just like how they write. Then, if I'm going to write in color, which I tend to do a lot, I personally prefer the Pentel Energel pens, and I have these in 0.7. I would say as a general statement, I like for the tips to be smaller rather than larger because I have pretty big handwriting as it is, and having a large tip just makes it kind of messy, and I don't like that. But these are 0.7 and it doesn't really bother me. These are probably the only pens, along with the Papermate Ink Joy pens, that I buy consistently. I always replace these when they run out, and I've used these specific pens for about 3.5 years now, religiously. I take notes in them, I write in my journal in them, obviously. They are my favorite colored pens. So now I'm going to go into some of the ideas that I have for when you want to write something in your journal but you don't know what to write. Just some of the things that I specifically do. Now, every month I do a reading and writing plan for what I'm going to read and write, hopefully, that month. And I also do a wrap-up of what I read from the previous month. Now, I'm going to show you one of these, which is kind of a sad one because I didn't finish it, but I will show you. So that's what it looks like. Another thing that I love to put in my journals, and I put in my journal every month, is a playlist of the music that I'm liking that month. Sometimes, I don't know if I'm the only person, let me know in the comments down below if you can commiserate with me. I am looking for a song and there's nothing that I want to listen to, but I want to listen to music. And I can't remember any of the things that I used to like. So I go back into my journal and I have all of these playlists from every month, and I have them for over a year at this point. So this one is a little bit fancier, but you can totally have fun with it and doodle if you want, or you can just write a list of songs, which sometimes I do because I'm not in the mood to make it all cute and pretty. But this is my May playlist from this year. Other than just straight up writing, I love to tape things into my journals. And I love to tape things that I find into my journals. This week, I found a note in the laundry room of my dorm that somebody had taped onto the washer saying that they had started the washer for somebody. And then I found another note that they had taped to the dryer yelling at that person because they took their clothes out when they were still wet. So I took both of those notes because they obviously weren't relevant anymore, and I taped them into my journal. Another fun thing to tape into your journal is things that you find. So if you find sticky notes, somebody's sticky note, or sometimes I tape in coins, bookmarks that I find from museums and things that I went to. And specifically now, because it's September and it's fall and it's beautiful, I love to tape in leaves. So these 2 leaves I found on my campus recently, and I just thought they were absolutely gorgeous. They're some of the first leaves that are turning and falling, so I took these and I'm going to tape them into my journal very soon. Another thing that I like to write in my journals, I have videos on these both, so I will leave those linked down below, is weekly successes and plot bunny ideas. So, starting with weekly successes, I will link that video down below. I talk about it in an editing vlog. I like to list each day things that I accomplished. And sometimes it's the boost that I need to get going on, you know, a Wednesday. If I can look back and say, I was really productive on Monday, I got a lot done. Let's try to do the same today. And I also think that in today's society, especially in a college atmosphere, I just find myself feeling like I never did enough. I didn't get enough done. I didn't accomplish enough. And having a list of the things that I did accomplish and just that physical confirmation that, yeah, I did get things done, makes some of that stress and pressure that I feel from just the world in general just a little bit less, which is nice. I also make pages for my plot bunnies, and I will link my video talking about plot bunnies down below. But sometimes, especially as a writer, when you're working on a story idea, some other story idea pops into your head and will not leave. I let myself have some pages in my journal to work with that idea in a preliminary kind of way, to write down name ideas or things that inspire me with that idea, scenes that I see for that story, and I just keep them all on one page, and it makes it easier if I want to go back and write that story one day. And it also lets me have that little bit of release of writing it down and working on it just a little bit without completely derailing me from the project that I'm working on in that current moment. And then the last thing that I'm going to mention that I think you should definitely try putting in your journal if you haven't is pieces of dialogue, phrases, quotes that you come across in your daily life that just strike a chord with you. That kind of sounds dumb when I'm saying it, but I will give you an example of one little inspiration page that I just did recently. So in one of my classes, we are reading the Enuma Elish, which is the origin story for a Babylonian society. And the first line in this story is, "When gods were man." What? I just thought that was such a great line. When gods were man, when gods did what humans do and lived on the earth as humans live on the earth. I was super inspired by that. So I wrote it on a sticky note and then I copied it down into my journal when I had my journal with me. These other two quotes I actually found doing research for a school project, and they were describing Antigone by Mac Wellman. It is a very strange, absurdist play inspired by Antigone by Sophocles. So if you want to go look it up, there is a PDF copy on the internet that you can go read if you want to. One of these is a line from the play, and that line is, "There is much that is strange, but nothing that surpasses man in strangeness." So that's by Mac Wellman, obviously. And then this was a review of this play by Mac Wellman, and they said that this play explodes the myth into a heap of shards. And I just fell in love with that imagery. I mean, a heap of shards. It makes me want to write something. So when you come across those little tidbits in your daily life, if you either read them or you hear somebody saying them as you're walking down the pasta aisle in the grocery store, keep them in your mind, write them on your phone, and copy them down into your journal, because you never know when they're gonna spark your next great story idea. So that's all I have for the video today. I hope that some of these tips were helpful if you're thinking about getting a journal or you have a journal and you don't know what to write in it. These are some of the things that I write and some of the tips that I use when I'm going to pick a new journal out. Some of the supplies that I use and things that I put in my journal. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so please subscribe if you want to see more writing stuff from me. I have some really fun videos going up next week that have to do with my characters, so I'm super excited to put those out for you guys, and I want you guys to see them. If you haven't already, please go check out my author dialogue challenge. I had such a fun time doing it, and I want to start doing more author challenges like that because I think it's a great way for you guys to know my characters, and I would love it if you guys wanted to do that video and leave me a link so I can go watch your video and see you guys try and figure out what your characters say. I will leave that linked in the description down below. Please comment to me if you guys are avid journalers or if you've never thought about having a journal. I would love to hear what your experience is and if I convinced you to start a journal. And I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.